Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 216. Your weekly little get together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Steven Brown, and joining me today is a cameraless
Hi, I'm David.
David. You're having
I'm
some.
st- I'm I'm still here technically.
I know you're having some connection issues, so we don't have you up on camera right now. Hopefully, that improves the audio. Blue, white, red. How you doing? Thank you for showing up tonight, David. We have to
Yes.
talk about the fact that The Last of Us 2 has just been leaked all over the goddamn place. Don't worry, we're not getting into any spoilers, but we will be
We're
talking
not.
about the events around the leak itself. We ask if Horizon Zero Dawn will be the start of the trilogy, and we have to wonder who the hell remembers the Stadia, because apparently Google finally recalled that that actually exists. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live at Twitch TV /GamePoints at Tuesday at 8 p.m. or later over at YouTube.com /GamePointsPC, to feel free to join in the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, topics, anything you might have on hand that you want to contribute to the show. Just try to keep it germane to the conversation. David,
Yes.
let's just go ahead and get right into this Last of Us 2 nonsense, shall we? You want to lead us off on this?
Yeah, I can start it off. So this story is from Newsweek, but it's also just everywhere on the internet. Like you can't look anywhere and not see this. So maybe watch out if you're trying to avoid Last of Us spoilers. But
And we won't be talking
anyway,
about those spoilers right now, nor
yeah, we're not going to
the
get into
show.
any specifics. We're just kind of talking about the event itself. So anyway, Last of Us 2 spoilers have leaked online, revealing major plot points and the game's ending early on Monday morning. Wait, yeah, Monday morning. We're on
Yeah,
Tuesdays now.
yesterday.
Videos of important cutscenes, gameplay, and the game's main menu were posted online. And while Sony is trying to remove the footage, videos are resurfacing on social media. Footage of the PS4 game was allegedly uploaded by a disgruntled Naughty Dog employee or game tester, as the videos feature notes showing that the footage was taken from builds of the game from February or March. The timeline would coincide with crunch reports and mistreatment of employees at the time. So
Yeah, so
there's
if you remember about a month or so ago, we had one of those Schreier deep dives into the studio crunch culture at Naughty Dog, and many other anecdotal, it's all anonymous sources, but many other people who are working at Naughty Dog have been saying, hey, shit fucking sucks here and has since Uncharted 4.
yeah, and they're kind of infamous for that, right?
Yeah, it's ever
Like
since Amy Henning
they are the
was
studio of crunch.
right. Ever since Amy Henning was either forced out or left in of her own volition, depending on who you ask, apparently the studio culture of Naughty Dog has just gone way downhill. And it would not surprise me if, in fact, this was a disgruntled employee. Hey, Jukebox here, how you doing? He says, if these leaks hold up, I will be sad about the story. So, as I said, we are not going to get into spoiler details on this. I'm not going to mention the plot details. I will say, however, that I've already had this shit spoiled for me because the internet.
Yeah, well, you read a lot more internet than I
I
do.
do read a lot more
Luckily, I am
internet than most
safe.
people have.
I don't read anything.
People are salty if they do hold up to be true. I understand why. And it seems to have been confirmed that these leaks are true. And what happens is really what is going to happen in what you're seeing for leaks is what's going to happen in the game. And part of what makes me think that is this message that Naughty Dog left relatively quickly after the leaks happened. And they said the following: we know the last few days have been incredibly difficult for you. We feel the same. It's disappointing to see the release and sharing of pre-release footage from development. Do your best to avoid spoilers, and we ask that we don't spoil it for others. Last of Us 2 will be in your hands soon. No matter what you see and hear, the final experience will be worth it. David, they wouldn't be calling for people not to share spoilers if this actually wasn't going to be how the game plays out.
Yeah, if it was a totally different ending or something different, they would have just kind of left it alone.
Right. Uh,
This is what's going on.
there is
It
some
sucks.
controversy about the way the story is being handled. I don't necessarily buy into that because it's hard for me to say a story sucks if I haven't seen the story yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to just go off the ending. Like maybe there's a lot of stuff that leads up to it that's also amazing,
Right.
and that's kind of where they're going with this. Like, hey, we still have a whole game here for you to enjoy, so
Correct.
still come hang out. But a bunch of people like canceled their pre-orders and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
hearing about this.
if once again, without getting into details, if it holds true, I can see why people are pissed off, and I get it. It's not going to be enough to keep me from playing The Last of Us 2 when it comes out. I am still anticipating playing through that game. Even knowing what's going to happen if all this stuff holds up true, I am kind of like, okay, well, I want to see it. I want to see how it goes out. So, yeah, be very, very careful out there if you are looking forward to The Last of Us 2, because for some reason, this game in particular, people are going out of their way to spoil. And I think it's because it delves into some of that culture war bullshit that I can't stand.
Yeah, people like being mad about stuff on the internet.
Yeah, this time in the other direction. This time from the
But it's also
right
people just love spoiling shit. Like it's a thing.
People do love spoiling shit, but this
it's
one
always,
in particular.
You could be looking at, I remember what, a year or two ago, or whenever the hell that happened, like Game of Thrones spoilers used to be in the most obscure and unknown places. Right? You would be reading an article about, I don't know, some politician that had a scandal somewhere, and then one of the comments would be, by the way, so and so dies in Game of Thrones episode blah.
See, I never ran into that.
You never saw those? Because I saw a lot of that stuff.
I'm not saying it doesn't
back
exist.
When Game of Thrones was big.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It's just something that I never, just a vitriol around deliberately going out to try to spoil this game seems to be at a fever pitch, and a lot of people have taken umbrage with Naughty Dog right now. And I think it's because of the nature of the spoilers is a main driving force behind that. Because as I said, if stuff happens to pan out the way that I have seen, I get why people are pissed.
Yeah, and I have no idea.
Once you get that, you get the love of spoiling and being an asshole to people combined with the rage that people have, the irrational rage over shit. Because this comes down to my stance, right? I've said multiple times, let creators make the story they want. I don't necessarily agree with the direction this game seems to be going, but it would be the epitome of hypocrisy for me to say, fuck this, Neil Druckmann should change it. No, if this is Neil's vision for his game, let him fucking make it.
Fuck yourself. This is how he does it.
Exactly. And I will go through and play through it, and then I will judge on my own merits, but I will not say that he should change it and he should get rid of something because he feels...
Hell no. If you don't like it, make your own video game.
Like that. Exactly. If you don't like it, create your own story. Let's take the chat real quick. Blue Right Red says that the naughtiest of Naughty Dogs have done this. Once again, we don't know if it was an actual disgruntled employee or not. This just seems to be the case, because there really aren't many ways for footage like this to get out. It had to have been like an inside job.
It's interesting that someone would have held on to it for so long. If the footage was from February, March, right? They waited until now to do it, so maybe it's somebody that was recently fired or something like that. But the big thing is we know that the game was recently postponed indefinitely because they didn't want people working from home because they didn't want the game to be spoiled, right? Among other things. But that was like one of the major assumptions around it. It's like, oh, we don't want people taking the game home because it's on our server or whatever. But someone already had it. Someone took a game home in February.
Yeah, well, also remember, I didn't necessarily believe that excuse either. I thought that the work from home thing was a convenient way to say, hey, we need more time in this game.
Yeah.
So
I remember you said that.
It does kind of sync up, however, with people being pissed off at Naughty Dog because apparently anger has been building, and every time it gets delayed, it's not like they get to ease up from crunch. It's not, okay, cool, we're taking an extra 3 months. We don't have to crunch 2 weeks of work over 3 months. They're
still working just as hard, yeah.
So people are getting more and more pissed off.
Management at Naughty Dog is pretty shit, I think, is safe to say.
There's more and more pay disputes popping up, too. And I didn't necessarily get into, because now we're starting to talk about deeper and deeper rumors. We're only doing the surface layer. But the timing makes sense based on some of the things I heard about some contracts not necessarily getting fulfilled and some people just being, okay, fuck this, I'm out. Jukebox Hero said in chat, says his favorite were the donation streams of spoilers. So, classic internet. So what would happen, back to your spoiler culture thing, is that people would donate to like Twitch and it would like show up on the screen of the Twitch streamer. Sure. It's like so-and-so donated X amount of dollars, and it would have like a message that you could highlight.
Yeah, a lot of streamers will have like the shout out message if you donate or if you subscribe or whatever. Yeah, that happens all the time.
So I don't think I've seen that, but that is kind of funny. Funny, and like I don't necessarily want to say funny as in to encourage it, but because you're an asshole if you do it, but it's one of those things that you look at and you go, all right, that's fucked up, but that was a clever way of doing it.
I mean, like Jukebox said, it's classic internet. That's just
Mm.
the way people are.
Also, let's see. If the multiplayer is good or better than the original, easily worth the purchase, even if the story may be trash. You know, the Last of Us like the original Last of Us multiplayer. I guess the only Last of Us multiplayer.
Yeah,
That was good. The
which is
multiplayer to the Last of Us
surprising
was
from
really
you
good.
because you don't play multiplayer games.
That's one of the few multiplayer games I actually would play. I can't remember what it was called. It was like Scavengers or some shit like that.
Some shit like that.
But no, it was good. I don't think it's running now. I think they shut it down. But yeah, the multiplayer to Last of Us was surprisingly good for a game that was focused around what it was. However, I don't want multiplayer in it though. Multiplayer does not belong in a game like this, in my opinion. Take those resources, put them to the single player. I don't get.
I mean, if it's something that you have another team working on and it comes out at the same time and everything's cohesive and it still works, it's fine. Like I remember, what was it Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence? I believe had the first version of Metal Gear Online, and I played the crap out of that because I beat the game and the game was amazing. But then there's also this whole online component, and it was unique and different and fun, and I really really enjoyed it. And I don't think that having that in the game detracted from the single player game at all because it's still one of the best damn video games.
I get that. I get that argument. I get that logic. However, at the end of the day, those are resources that were taken away from making a more improved single player.
Fair.
That was that much extra time that could have been spent on polish, or to add cut ideas, or to just not have your people working 18 hours a day.
Yeah, and with Naughty Dog and the fact that they have everybody crunching like crazy, that makes sense that they could easily just cut that and have other people, getting their shit actually done on time and going home and seeing their family. But if you have people whose skill set kind of revolves around making multiplayer components as opposed to single player, like if they're not a story or an asset person and they're more like behind the scenes and getting things to work and building systems and setting up servers and all that other stuff, like they still need something to do.
I swear I remember reading a month ago, I wish I had this article pulled up, but when, for example, going back to the Naughty Dog crunch issue, when Uncharted 4 wrapped up, they had 20 people go on like sabbatical and only 4 of them returned. Because they were just burnt the fuck out. Beeps Ghost asks, why would anyone want to see their family? Good question. Damn good question. I get it. And I think it's because some people actually like their family. I don't understand it myself, but I understand. I get the sentiment, at least.
Mm-hmm.
David, let's go ahead and move on to some more Last of Us 2 related news, as well as Ghost of Tsushima news. We have new dates for these games finally. Now, if you recall, a few weeks back, everything just got delayed all to hell. So, especially when it comes to Sony, Last of Us was delayed indefinitely, Iron Man VR was delayed indefinitely, and then eventually Ghost of Tsushima was also delayed indefinitely. Well, we now have dates for 2 of those games, Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, from the PlayStation blog itself. As we begin to see an ease in the global distribution environment, I am pleased to confirm that The Last of Us Part 2 will arrive on June 19th, and Ghost of Tsushima will follow on July 17th. What do you think about how close these dates are together, David?
It's not as bad as like an EA scheduled release, where they're a week apart.
Were they the Battlefront or Battlefield 5 and Titanfall 2?
Yeah, but it does run into a similar issue in that Last of Us Part 2, yes, does target a certain subsection of like Sony fans and Last of Us fans, and Ghost of Tsushima is a new IP and technically subject matter wise targets other people, but at the end of the day they're both single player action adventure games, like story driven single player action adventure games. And because it'd be different, right? If there was The Last of Us Part 2 coming out, and then a month later there was a first party like Gran Turismo game,
like if it was Dreams or something.
Yeah, or it was Dreams, or if it was just a completely different genre, because I don't know, people don't necessarily have a shit ton of disposable income all the time, and for me, I usually get one story game, and then that's my story game for the year. or I get maybe 2, but I definitely don't get them back to back months.
Right. This just kind of buys into... I've had this idea tinkering in my head that Sony is kind of just sending Ghost of Tsushima off to die.
Which sucks because that game looks rad, and I feel like if anything, all of this Last of Us leaks is actually good for Ghosts, as
It
shitty
could
as that
be.
is.
It could be. But
Like people
also,
that were all excited for Last of Us Part 2 are pissed online, and they're like, "We're gonna play Ghost of Tsushima," but then it's gonna turn into a whole other culture war about people being mad at Last of Us and talking about how Ghost is better, and it's gonna turn into that one. Oh, fuck, remember when that weird anime movie came out at the same time as Captain Marvel? And you got all the guys that were like, "Yeah, fuck Captain Marvel because Brie Larson is mad about men or something, something, and you should go watch this weird anime movie
was it
instead." And that's
Avatar?
the better.
Not Avatar.
No,
Alita?
some Alita. Yes, yes, yes. Those movies came out around the same time, and they had vastly different budgets. But one movie made people mad, and then they started hyping up the other movie. And I thought the whole situation was really weird. And I'm kind of worried that that's going to happen here.
So I got a
Like
couple things I
Ghost,
want to break down.
I'm worried that Ghost won't be actually measured on its own merit, but just on the reactionary anger of people mad at The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, a couple things I want to break down. First, not dealing with this topic at all when it comes to Tsushima. It is entirely apt to say both Brie Larson fucking sucks and those people who are bitching about the movie also suck. They're all terrible people. Second, Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, I get that The Last of Us 2 is their big baby, right? That's like Sony's big flagship thing right now this year for sure. And they have been putting out a lot of marketing for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to be out essentially like in a couple weeks from now, and it's been delayed about a month or so, month or 2 months, and that's on top of previous delays because I think it was also originally said to come out in February. All
Yeah,
of
wasn't
that
this
said,
on the list of like the world's most dangerous February 22nd? Like,
yeah,
wasn't
and
that
then
on that
everything got
original
blown
list?
because Cyberpunk was also originally supposed to come out like by now too. All of that got blown the hell out. That said, there should be all this marketing we're seeing already for Ghost of Tsushima. If you're following the actual like release schedule for what it was originally supposed to be, Last of Us 2 should have been out, shipped by now. We should be talking about Ghost of Tsushima on marketing and seeing gameplay footage and
Yeah,
doing
we should be
development
done
design
with
things.
we should be done with Last of Us. That should be, last month's game. People played it, people liked it, people didn't like it, whatever. It's not even like current in the lexicon unless
Right.
it's game changing.
For a game that's less than 3 months away, we aren't hearing shit about it. That's really concerning. And I think that's why Sony is releasing it so close to Last of Us Part 2, because I think Sony is already of the mindset that this is going to be sent out to die. 2.
But that just, man, I'm so worried
I know.
because that team is so good.
I know. I get it. I want that game to be good. I still plan on playing it. 2. Let's forget about all the release dates. Let's take a look at this first sentence here of the blog post. Or not the first sentence of the blog post, the first sentence I have my notes on. As we begin to see an ease in the global distribution environment. To me, that is Sony stealthily confirming that yes, they are a go for PlayStation 5 this year, and that it's not going to be a problem.
That's your takeaway from this?
As we begin to see
hey
an
guys,
ease,
production lines are actually coming back. It looks like we're able to make things. Let us show you these video games because they have to release now because we've got big shit coming.
Yes. That's exactly what I think this sentence is. They're like, we have to get these out now because we have big shit coming, like you said, and they're going out of their way to say, hey, distribution is easing up. And if it's easing up, that means that we should not necessarily have shortages by the end of this year caused by COVID. I will caveat that because they were already having issues on other fronts because they're competing for the same parts with Samsung.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think that what is being subtly said here is that you should not necessarily worry about PlayStations being, I don't want to say hard to find, but maybe not rare.
I mean, a week ago we just reported that they're probably not going to ship a ton of them by the end of the year, and that they're going to have a limited release.
I think that's setting expectations.
It's possible.
I could be wrong on that. We'll see.
I mean, they could even double the amount of the PS3 launch, and they could have 1 million of them shipped to North America, and then that's how many we get.
I could just be reading more into this than I should be, but I have learned over the few years that we've done this, what is more important is what is being said off to the side than what is usually the lead in some of these things. It's like how we have determined that when a company doesn't mention any numbers specifically, we know it did bad.
Oh yeah,
It's that kind of thing.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
It's reading between the lines a little bit more. Yeah, exactly. Jukebox Hero straight up said it as I was saying at the same time, reading between the lines. David,
Yes.
let's move away from The Last of Us 2 and Tsushima, but let's go ahead and keep on with the Sony news. And why don't you
Dude,
lead us off on
I
this one?
love Sony news. This is from Video Games Chronicle, which is a website that sometimes has video game news.
No shit, really? A
Yeah,
site called
dude.
Video Game Chronicle?
Yeah. It's very exciting. Anyway, Guerrilla, that fantabulous studio that made Horizon Zero Dawn, might be making a trilogy. Multiple sources have told VGC that Sony Interactive Entertainment has greenlit ambitious plans for the post-apocalyptic open-world franchise, which debuted in 2017 with the 10 million selling Horizon Zero Dawn. Amsterdam-based Guerrilla has always desired to deliver a series of Horizon games, and a multi-part script was written, but the plan was only officially agreed after the original game's strong debut on PS4. The next installment, HZD2, started development soon after the first game's successful release, sources said. Initially, the game was planned for PS4. However, it's thought that development has now entirely shifted focus to Sony's next-generation console. Horizon Zero Dawn is said to be gigantic in scope, with a larger game world and more freedom to explore than its predecessor. People with knowledge of the game also indicated the inclusion of a co-op feature, although it's not clear if this is delivered via the main story or in a separate mode. At one point, Guerrilla was planning a release, a standalone co-op game preview with progress carrying over to the later full version of Zero Dawn 2, one person involved told VGC. However, it's not clear if these plans are still in place. This is really damn exciting because Horizon Zero Dawn was the best open world game released that year, and I'm very, very excited for a sequel.
That was my favorite game of the year. It came out. I
Yep.
hate this co-op shit though, because when you have a co-op mode, that means you design your game to be played in co-op, and I'm not going to play it in co-op. And things always feel fucked up when you're playing a single player game that was meant for co-op outside of co-op.
I'm hoping it's just like a standalone separate mode. Like there's a co-op mode in Call of Duty, and
And
there
I
was like
would
that.
be fine with that with the previous caveats that I mentioned earlier about Last of Us as multiplayer mode.
Yeah, if it doesn't break the regular part of the game.
Yeah, and once again, at the end of the day, it still takes away from a single player story.
Well, maybe they weren't sure if they were going to get to make an HZD2, and so they started working on like a little weird co-op side story thing that was going to be a tie-in to the first game, and then they got greenlit for the second one, so they started working on the second one, but they have a bunch of team members that were still kind of working on it in the back burner, and they're both coming out at the same time. Who knows? Or it could be that it was completely scrapped, and it's just a single-player game. We have no idea. This
Right.
is all source, rumor, hearsay nonsense. We don't have for sure dates or times or details on any of this stuff.
Right. And of course, these plans are leading up to the proposed trilogy that's going on, which makes perfect sense because this is one of Sony's biggest, newest IPs they've had in a long time. Remember, Horizon Zero Dawn did so fucking well that the co-founder of Guerrilla, Herman Holst, is now the head of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. You know, Shuhei Yoshida's old job.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big deal. I like Guerrilla. I've liked Guerrilla for a long time, since the very first Killzone, in fact. I thought they were cool. They were excited when they got to make this game. If you've watched any of the behind-the-scenes stuff, they seem like they're just stoked to be there half the time.
Right.
And it's exciting to me that we have another franchise that's behind Sony that's not run by Naughty Dog. And I'm so hopeful that we hear of like good stories about the development from Guerrilla, and that it's not the ridiculous grind fest that is working at, Naughty Dog.
You know, I used to be like a big Naughty Dog fan, but over the past year or so, the shit that I'm hearing coming out from that studio with the infighting and
It's
crunch,
hard to be a fan when you hear how shitty they're
sucks.
run.
And I keep hearing all this shit about Neil Druckmann. Now, admittedly, it's just water cooler talk, right? But as time goes on, it's actually starting to taint the rest of the studio for me. And it all started when Amy Hennig was, by all reports, chased out of Naughty Dog. And she built that fucking studio. She wasn't like that necessarily the person who built it, but that studio's name and reputation lays at her feet, not Neil Druckmann's.
Yeah, for sure. She had a big hand in all the things that actually made them successful.
Right. Blue White Red says, hoping they put the utmost focus handle on Horizon well, rather than churning out money grabbers of subpar playability. The fact that it's not annualized there, blue, white, red, the fact that it is going to be probably 4 years before the next Horizon Zero Dawn means that they're taking the time to do it properly. Additionally, when a
potentially they've had, what, 2.5 years to start work on it, and they might be positioning it to move to the next gen hardware, but they probably have a bunch of stuff done. So maybe we see it within the first year or two
I
of
think,
the
yeah,
PS5's lifestyle.
my gut tells me this is going to be a launch game, a launch window game, not necessarily the day the system comes out.
First quarter.
You'll have it this time next year, in my opinion. We'll see how that shakes out.
That makes a lot of sense.
One bad thing about all this, however, because it makes sense that they'll be making a Horizon Zero Dawn trilogy or Horizon trilogy, whatever they're going to call it, is that means all of Guerrilla's focus is going to be on Zero Dawn, which is awesome. It also means, though, that we're not going to be getting a Killzone anytime soon.
Yeah, which is upsetting because I do want a Killzone 4.
Yeah, I would love to see it because Killzone Shadowfall was fine. Killzone 1 and 2 were amazing. Killzone 3, not so much. Shadowfall was good, but not great. I would love to see another Killzone. I would love to see, now that Guerrilla has like a big name for itself, what they can do.
The ending of the second game is still fucking amazing.
Brian Cox is an underrated voice actor.
Yeah.
And Scholar Vasari,
video games.
Highly underrated villain.
Yeah.
Loved his villain. Naughty Dog is freed up now, so they'll be working on Killzone 4. I don't know what Naughty Dog is going to be working on next after The Last of Us 2.
I think they're going to be working on trying to restaff, honestly.
My gut tells me they're going to work on the next Uncharted. I think they're going to focus all hands on deck on a new Uncharted, maybe to introduce characters that were shown in the fourth one and try to continue their stories, but we will see. Oh, I was wanting to say something else about
I'm thinking, like, what else would people put up with from Naughty Dog at this point?
Well, so anything. They'll put up with whatever as long as they like the game. But I was wanting to bring this up back on the Last of Us discussion we were having earlier. Everyone might be pissed off at The Last of Us 2. They're still going to fucking buy it and play it.
Oh, of course, 100%.
So it doesn't matter how mad online trademark you are. You're still going to fucking buy the game and play it. Which is why I don't even say things like, I'm not playing this one. I just go, yeah, I'll probably play it still. Like Blizzard. We're pissed off at Blizzard. Fuck Blizzard. J. Allen Brack didn't apologize about the Blitzchung thing. Taiwan is not part of China. Blah, 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 blah. We've gone over it all before. Guess what the fuck I'm playing the day it comes out? Diablo 4.
Yeah, I probably won't.
Well,
although I do play Modern Warfare, so I'm still just as bad.
Yeah, but you'd also never played Diablo either.
Mm-hmm.
That was never
That's
your
not true.
jam.
I played a shit ton of Diablo 2.
Did you? Oh, well, Diablo 2, yes. But you haven't... That has not been your game for a long time.
No, it's been a minute. Anyway, I think that Uncharted should actually stop what they're doing and just make a new Jak and Daxter game.
I've heard rumors.
Bring back the 3D adventure platformers.
The bigger
on
rumor,
next gen.
The biggest rumor related to that I've heard is that we might get a new Crash Bandicoot.
Which would make sense because they had the remaster, reloaded, whatever the fuck they called it, Crash game that came out.
David?
Yes.
Enough Sony. Let's jump to Xbox here real quick. Nothing big, but remember how we've been talking about we were reading those rumors.
Stop releasing specs, no one cares.
No, I was about to say we were hearing those rumors from Zuge EX about how E3 is going to get kind of dispersed throughout the year.
Yes.
Some stuff still releasing that week, some stuff later, some stuff much sooner, and we were giving the idea that maybe it's going to be Xbox because of the two companies that were going to announce their console first. It seemed Microsoft was in a better position. It seems more likely that's going to be the case. In this exchange online between Twitter user Woggerman1974 and Phil Spencer, the following happened. Hi, Phil Spencer. How are you feeling about the eventual reveals of new games and new info on the Series X later this year? How's the planning going? There are definitely a lot of hungry fans out there, to which Phil Spencer replied with the following. Reviewed plans yesterday for continued sharing through launch. The team is doing great and adapting. I've never been more excited about Xbox plans. We have heard you. You want transparency, authenticity. We plan to keep showing that way. Next step is not too much of a wait. And then he puts in parentheses, games. So it sounds like Phil Spencer is saying, hey, expect to have a big games rollout for what the Xbox Series X is going to be very soon.
I'm actually really excited because as we've been waiting for almost a year now, they bought like 14 flipping game studios,
Yep.
and we haven't heard nothing from most of them.
Other than what they were already working on.
Yes.
So we already knew
know,
about Hellblade 2. We already knew about Wasteland 3.
Yeah, we know that there's stuff in the pipeline for the next Xbox, but we need to see it.
Yeah,
And it's the same thing with Sony, but Sony's on their weird radio silence because they waited forever to give us like the base specs of the PS4, and we're kind of caught up, but they're going to talk about stuff when they feel like talking about stuff.
Right. At the end of the day, the game is what we're looking for, and we just know nothing about what's coming for this next generation of games. We have an idea. For example, while Horizon Zero Dawn 2 hasn't been officially confirmed, I mean, come the fuck on.
The
That
writing's
game
on the
is
wall.
clearly
The
happening.
money is in the pockets. They are ready.
Days Gone 2 is probably going to be happening. We know these for a fact. We know that the next Halo is Xbox Series X exclusive, I believe, but we know nothing about. We haven't seen anything on them. It's getting time to shit or get off the pot with this stuff. And I know that a lot of people are probably holding out till E3. And I was very excited for this year's E3 till it got canceled because this was going to be the year. This is the one. We only get the console launch E3 every few years or so, and this is going to be the big rollout of stuff. Now that that's all been fucked all to hell, Xbox, it's on Xbox and PlayStation and even Nintendo to do their own version of Directs to roll these out. And it sounds like we're about to finally get the first of those with Microsoft.
Pretty exciting.
Really excited about that. So hopefully we'll finally get a deep dive into what the next generation of games will be.
Speaking of next generations of games, let's talk about last generation's games.
That's so true in multiple ways of the story.
The next story is, I guess we could just source it from the Googs, from the Google or YouTube since they own it. Stadia news, I guess you can call this news. There was a Stadia Connect, which is the Stadia version of a Direct, where they talk about all the old games that are coming out to Stadia soon. Anyway, if you haven't already heard, Stadia's free if you've got like a Gmail account at this point, but you still have to pay for games, and it's probably slowly dying. But there's new stuff happening. If you reside in one of the launch countries, you can grab 2 months of Stadia Pro for free. Pre-existing Stadia Pro members will also get 2 free months. Stadia will be bringing 5 games from Electronic Arts to the platform, including Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Madden, NFL, whatever current gear, FIFA, and 2 ones we don't actually know. They weren't released yet.
So they say 2 ones we don't know. Will they be new EA games, or will they just be old EA games they're putting over on Stadia?
There's no way they're going to be new games that you've not heard of. It's going to be old EA games.
Okay, so it's not going to be some unannounced title that's day and date launch.
There's a 0%. Dude, of all the studios, EA is the least likely to jump in on something that's untested.
I agree with you. I'm posing the question just because I feel like I have to ask it. Chat is saying Stadia's free? Wait, I already have an Xbox and my computer isn't crap. Feels bad, man. No, I agree. That's Stadia's biggest problem.
Doom Eternal, now out, right? If you didn't already play that and you need to kill your internet, you could play it on Stadia. Octopath Traveler, actually the best thing that's released on Stadia.
I don't know about that.
Octopath Traveler is the best thing that's released on Stadia because that will actually probably get me to use Stadia because I refuse to buy that game for full price because it costs too much.
Okay, see, now that's a little bit different than what you were suggesting because Doom
and I could play it.
Octopath.
I could beat Octopath in like a week for free. That's great. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Also, a bunch of other smaller games. Every game that we see has one major thing in common. They're all existing games. They've all been out for weeks and months. There's no new games.
Yeah.
On Stadia. Oh wait, no, there are a couple. Sorry, there is a small list of exclusives or first on Stadia games, which are okay. Let me know if you've heard of any of these. Crata, Wavebreak, Ember, Get Packed. Those super famous and crazy hyped video games that you've never heard of are coming to Stadia, and also to end out their epic 16-minute long Stadia Direct Connect, whatever the fuck you call it, PUBG's on Stadia. That's their big get. that's their big game for the week. That's their big game for the year.
I got a couple things I want to mention on this. One, if you're ending your fucking like first Stadia Connect in like 3 months saying we got PUBG, you're fucked. Stadia's fucked.
Yeah.
Sorry. Second, and this is by no means me trying to rag on Krata, Ravebake, Ember, or Get Packed, but if those are your only exclusives, we're talking Ouya level of exclusivity.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And like, what's crazy is that PUBG is in like 4th place for battle royales at this point.
PUBG itself is old news.
Yeah, ridiculously. It's way past the point of hype. And there's 3 games that are just better than it that exist.
Which makes me also think that Apex Legends is going to be one of the 2 unknown games from EA.
Oh man, that's genius. Or maybe they'll put on Titanfall 2.
But put both of them on there. They're probably speaking with Respawn right now to see if they can't make that happen.
And Respawn's like, I don't know if we want to get down on that. That seems like a waste of our talent.
Blue White Red says slow incoming, rest in peace for Stadia. So here's the thing about
that's kind of been the case ever since they announced it.
With Google, you never know when they're just going to turn the lights off and shut the doors to one of their pet projects because they do it all the time without warning.
Yeah, if you look up and Google the list of canceled Google projects, it's pretty substantial. There's a lot of stuff.
Sometimes they get this bee in their bonnet and they just have to fucking keep it open well past its date. I think Stadia falls in that category, where they're going to try to force Stadia down our fucking throats for at least another year plus.
So it's a Google Plus. They're going to try it and try it and try it and try it and try it, and then 3 years later it's going to crash.
Yep. Because it is just not ready for prime time. And the fact that of all their big titles, they're like, here's these. Remember, this is their version of a Nintendo Direct or a PlayStation State of Play or the Xbox Phil Spencer Power Hour, whatever the fuck they call it. And their big fucking rollouts are all games that have been out for weeks, if not months already. A small smattering of exclusives that they're getting that are more first on Stadia rather than actual exclusives. And fucking player-unknown Battlegrounds.
Yeah.
That is not good, Stadia. And I know someone who, I don't know if he's working for him now, but he was actively working on the Stadia team. I feel so bad for him because he was so excited. And I was like, good, I'm glad for you. And to see this shit just start rolling out, or not rolling out, rather, and just how Stadia has underwhelmed every step of the way. And you know what? If you like Stadia, more power to you. But you are in the minority, my man. And
it sucks because I did like the idea of, I don't have an issue with games being streamed. I mean, my internet provider does.
Yeah.
Not currently because my data caps are lifted, but my internet's still throttled, so it's not actually that helpful.
Google needs to get fiber out first, and then they can do Stadia Connect.
Oh, but don't worry, they canceled that. Remember, that was one of their projects that they stopped doing.
I'm aware. And it's...
But you could play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, or Borderlands 3, or Destiny 2, or Doom, or Farming Simulator 19. They got that. That's a good one, right? Everybody likes that game.
Is old.
How about Grid, Just Dance 2020? That's got to be new. It's got 2020 in the name.
Old game is old.
How about Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris? Of all the fucking Lara Croft games to pick.
It's been, I think the last Stadia Connect was, I think the last Stadia Connect was January.
Orcs Must Dice 3.
And this is PUBG, what they roll out.
Rage 2. RDR 2 is on there, technically, you know.
Why don't you guys tell us what you think about the state of Stadia down in the comments below or here in chat at Twitch.tv/GamePoints and let us know. But I think y'all can kind of get what we both feel about Stadia, and that it just, at this point, I know we're bitching that Google cancels their stuff, but really, just put it out of its misery.
The problem is that looking at the list of games that are available on Stadia, even if it was all free, like, and not just free for a month, but it's like completely download this client and you can play these games for free. There's nothing on there that would get me to download the client.
Yeah, there's nothing on here that beats even something like Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, and that sucks because it is a cool concept. It is a cool idea. When I tried it, it worked very well.
Just not ready for it.
Yeah, it's just not everything. The infrastructure's not in place. People don't have fast enough internet for the most part, and they just didn't really get the support they needed. Which that happens, right? They can't really control that. They can throw as much money as they want at it, but if like the big three publishers decide, nah, we're not really feeling it, then you're screwed. And most of the time, the only publisher that shows up to any of these new things is Ubisoft. Right?
Ubisoft has always been willing to try experimental new shit.
They threw stuff at Ouya. They threw stuff at, man, do you remember that first game streaming service that came out years and years ago? OnLive. Ubisoft was on OnLive. They were like the only ones that were.
That eventually got gobbled up by PlayStation, I believe. No, that was Gaikai.
I had an OnLive account. Because
I did not.
I think that the tech is cool. It's interesting. And if you play games on like a crappy laptop and you don't have a cool gaming PC or something, this is a good way to play like AAA titles and have them actually look decent. You know, besides shelling out $60 for a console version. Like, it does technically have a market. But the like bones that they need to build this structure aren't there.
Correct.
And it sucks.
David, let's go ahead and round out the news of a couple of quick stories. I got 3 of them right here. We'll do, I don't want to say fast, but don't not spend too much time on them. First, Epic Games is going to start requiring 2-factor authentication when claiming free games between April 28th and May 21st. From their press release. Beginning today and ending on May 21st, we will periodically require 2-factor authentication prior to claiming free games on the Epic Games Store. We are making this change in an effort to encourage our players to take steps to strengthen their Epic account security. Now, I like 2-factor authentication for the most part. But what struck me as unusual about this is I think this is the first time a company has ever forced you to get it if you want to get something from them.
I think it's the first time that a game company has forced it, but there's other services that do kind of force TFA or 2FA style things. So I don't think it's like a first at all, but I don't know of any other game companies that have done it for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Because most of the times you'll see it and they'll like kind of give you a carrot to like, hey, install this and you'll get this online pet or this skin or...
Right. That being said, though, if it's 2020, if you don't have 2-factor, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
There's like 160,000 Switch accounts that were hacked like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So...
like, turn that stuff on.
Yeah, get it. It definitely helps. And when you have your phone going off over and over and over again, that might suck, but that shows you just how many attempts there are to get into your shit that you don't know about.
Yeah, and it makes sense for Epic because Fortnite lives there.
Yep.
And so there's going to be 1 million login attempts on every single account. Like, 2FA was one of the first things I turned on when I had an Epic account.
Same
because
here.
I did try Fortnite once upon a time. And then I got an email like 3 a.m. that someone from China was trying to log into my Epic account. And I was like, what the shit? Because Fortnite was getting big.
Yep.
And there's like skins and you can have money in the game. And they want to get in my account and use my credit card to buy items.
So
that's a thing. You got to worry about that kind of stuff.
Let me posit this question to you, David. Do you... I have no problem with 2-factor authentication. But is it an issue when a company forces it on someone?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that enabling 2-factor is... I don't know, because internet rights are weird. And I'm trying to think of this as like a breach of privacy or something, but I don't know that it is. Like, you need a... 2-factor means that you need 2 different things to verify that you're you. But that could also be like multiple email accounts. So technically, you could just go make an extra email account.
Right. So the reason
or you
why
use like Google Authenticator or something, you know.
The reason why I ask is because there seems to be some salt about this. Not much, but some. And I cannot, for the life of me, see why people are upset other than the standard, don't tell me what to do line. And I get that line. I fall into that category a lot. But beyond that, I don't see anything negative about 2-factor authentication. Maybe someone in chat can let me know.
I mean,
Uh,
I guess I would take like more umbrage with it if it was like a permanent thing. Like, congratulations, to use Epic, you now have to use 2FA, but that's not even happening.
no,
It
it's just if you
starts
want the free
today
games.
and it ends next month, and it's literally just, hey guys, this is a thing. If you don't want this, you could very easily opt out. Like, you can opt out of a lot of
Yeah.
things. You just don't get free games for a couple weeks. Oh
Jukebox Hero
no.
says, I don't trust these companies with more connections to me. I get it. You are the most common form of two-factor authentication is your phone. Type in your phone number, and you're giving them your phone number.
Yeah, but you don't have to give them your phone number. You can literally just get a Google Voice number and have it text that.
Let's see. Someone posits the idea that millions of customer phone numbers can be leaked onto the internet due to two-factor authentication. My problem with that, though, is that your phone number is already publicly available. Just it is.
Yeah, phone number. Your phone number is like the least secure thing about you.
Yeah.
You already get phone numbers from every single like politician and ad company in the world.
Yeah.
Just in general, without you doing anything. You could go buy a new cell phone, and 20 minutes later, you get a spam call from an auto dialer. Like, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah. So if someone out there knows, please let us know either in the comments down below or here live at twitch.tv/GamePoints. What are the negatives to two-factor authentication? And if the negative is simply don't tell me what to do, I can accept that. I have a very nasty individualistic streak on there, and when someone says I can't do something, the first two words in my head that pop up are "or what." So I get it. But I want to know if there's anything beyond that, or if this is just general Epic hate. Let's go ahead and move on to the next two things on there, but let us know down below if you can think of something. One of the next two stories. The first, something that we all expected happening sooner than later. This is via IGN. Battlefield is coming to an end Battlefront 2 updates are to stop. A new Battlefield game coming in 2021.
Man, that was a disjointed headline.
It was. It was. DICE has announced that the Battle Scarif update will revive for Star Wars Battlefront 2 tomorrow, April 29th. It'll be the last regular content update for the game. EA also confirms that DICE will release a new Battlefield game in 2021. In a blog post, DICE creative director Dennis Branival explains that the game's 26 free content update will arrive tomorrow, will be its final one. However, general support for the game will be ongoing. It follows the news that June content update for Battlefield 5 will also be that game's last. So, essentially, both of EA's big shooters that are in Apex Legends are coming to an end as far as new content is concerned. I'm actually kind of surprised they supported them for this long.
Both of EA's big shooters that aren't made by Respawn are coming to an end.
Titanfall 2 is not a big shooter, man. I know you want it to be, but I think I was still valid when I said that.
Oh, I mean, I'm saying the same thing. Apex is their only game remaining. Apex is made by Respawn.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I see what you're getting at now.
That being said, I mean, a new Battlefield game is inevitable. We all expect that. They're not going to just kill that franchise off. They're not going to admit defeat. But I really hope they come out swinging for the next Battlefield game. I really do.
Yeah.
Because Battlefield 3 is still, I think, one of my favorite games that it was when it came out originally.
I mean, that game got kind of... I felt it was a Call of Duty killer.
Yeah, that game got kind of crushed with, like, the way they patched it and the way they nerfed things and their balance changes and some other stuff, and it got really weird. But it was a really good game. And then since then, I haven't had, like, a Battlefield game or like a DICE Studio game that hit me the same way.
Right. 4 was all right.
I want to believe.
I liked 4, but it felt like it was a little bit of a step backwards. Battlefield 1, while I liked the idea of going to World War 1, just did not resonate with me at all. And Battlefield 5 was the
first mission of the Battlefield 1 campaign was good.
It was by far the highlight of that campaign because goddamn was it good.
Yeah. And there's one thing they have, and that's Frostbite, which is still an incredible looking engine, and they've always had phenomenal sound design. So I want them to make a good game. Please just slow over it.
David, your internet connection is dying, but I think we understood what you said.
Yeah, anyway, EA is going to EA. Everybody's fucked.
Yeah, Battlefield 5 was a PR mess. Chat is mentioning that right now. Who knows what's coming up? I think that, once again, I keep saying what I want EA to do, and what I want EA to do is make Bad Company 3. EA is not going to make Bad Company 3. That dream is long dead. Let's go back to what the original focus of the story was, and that's Battlefront. Do you think that there's going to be a Battlefront 3? Do you think that EA has enough time to crank one out before their Disney license expires?
Fuck no.
Do you think Disney is going to re-up their license with EA?
Fuck no. If anything, they'll sell it to Respawn.
So you are of the mindset that once Disney and EA's exclusivity license runs out,
EA's had the license.
David?
I'm saying, how long did EA have the license?
I don't know when it started, but I believe it was 10 years, and I think that 10... hold on. Let's look this up.
And in the time they had the license to one of the biggest franchises in the entire fucking world, how many video games did they actually make? And
Not
how
many
many video games did they cancel?
So
they're easily guess which number is bigger.
The 10-year license was in 2013, so they got another 3 years left on that. So if they wanted to crank out a Battlefront 3, they probably could do it. However, what more can be said with Battlefront 3 that wasn't said in 2 and 1?
Yeah. Also, why would people trust that game?
Apparently, it's not that bad right now. I'm always tempted to load up Battlefront again and give it another shot to see how it's come with all their updates and everything like that. I just don't know if it's going to be any good.
I mean, it could be the best game in the world. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Remember, Battlefront 2 was the game that more or less killed the loot box.
Yeah.
It made that entire mechanic.
It literally turned
toxic.
loot box into like a slur. It's like a word you cannot say if you work in video games anymore. You have to say something else.
Surprise mechanic. Like they went around to use terms like surprise mechanics or oh fuck, what was the other one they were using? I don't remember. But now that's been usurped by the Battle Pass for when it comes to monetization games. But that is what Star Wars Battlefront will always be to me now, is the game that made the term loot box toxic to the point where even the United States government was going, perhaps we should look into this. And that terrified the fuck out of everyone. That's what led to Disney calling up EA going, what the fuck did you do? Allegedly. Rumors. But rumors, I believe.
Right.
All right.
Aside from that, there's also, this is, I guess, news, right? From Twitter, Destroy All Humans is going to come out for PC, PS4, and Xbox One on July 28th.
Looking forward to it.
Destroy All Humans is a cool video game. This is not a new game, but a remake. Original game's dialogue and humor remained intact. The team enhanced them by updating the character models and cutscenes and introducing motion capture. Instead of re-recording the audio lines, the team actually used the audio from the original game and improved its quality for the remake. It also includes a mission called Lost Arena of Area 42 that was scrapped in the original game.
Looking forward to this very much so. I love Destroy Humans. I never got a chance to play the first one. I played the second one, though, and appreciate the hell out of it. So I am eagerly waiting for this one to come out. I will be streaming the hell out of it. And it's
we keep getting all these remakes. I want a sequel to be the result of one of these things.
Well, hopefully, with any luck, this actually will lead to that. But this is part of THQ Nordic strategy, right?
Yep.
Buy up all
Bring
these
it back
cheap
so you remember what it
IPs.
is.
Yep.
Test the water, see how well it does, and then see if they're going to go forward and try and make another one.
I keep hearing Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition did well enough for them to consider doing Guerrilla 2, which is by far the best news I've heard from THQ in a long time.
Dude.
I would love to see it. But either way,
they
David...
have so many franchises that I'm desperate for them to make a sequel for.
Yeah. They're sitting on a gold mine of shit.
Dude, I really want it, like the EA or the E3 whatever direct from THQ Nordic of, hey guys, remember all those studios that we own? Because there's like 60 of them and our stock went up like 790%. Here's a big giant helping of video games coming out.
Remember, they own the Time Splitters franchise.
They do. I never forget.
David, Destroy All Humans won't come out until July 28th. That is so far away. That's almost it's like 3 months away to the date.
Yeah, dude.
What can I do to keep myself occupied for those next 3 months?
3 whole months. Well, how about you play some new video games that are coming out this week? We've got a few things coming out, and there's a couple good ones in here, actually. Moving Out comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is a physics-based moving simulator that brings new meaning to couch co-op. Meh. Are you ready for an exciting career in furniture? As a newly certified furniture arrangement and relocation technician, you can probably guess what that spells. You'll take on moving
Hold on, say
jobs
it
all
again.
across
Say it one more time.
furniture arrangement relocation technician.
Oh,
It spells fart,
I
friends.
get it.
Yeah.
Sex cauldron.
This looks an awful lot like that Totally Reliable delivery service game.
Oh yeah. All
with
those weird
but less awkward arm physics and more just like, I don't know, gag humor.
What genre do we consider this? Where you take like a mundane thing, but add in unrealistic shit, like Octodad or Job Simulator or this.
It's like a weird simulator parody simulator.
Parody simulator. Because there's a game that was announced today called Kill It With Fire, where it's coming out from Tiny Build. You essentially are hunting a spider in your house, not like a giant spider, just a spider. But you can use shit like you can use your phone, or dynamite, or a shotgun, or a flamethrower. And you're just trying to track down the spider blowing shit up.
Obviously, use the flamethrower. The game's called Kill It With Fire. If you use anything else, you're playing the game wrong.
Very ridiculous. True. But the point is, there's this new genre that has been created ever since, like, what came out first, Job Simulator or Goat Simulator?
I'm pretty sure it was actually Surgeon Simulator.
Oh shit, Surgeon Simulator. But they all fall into that same category
of ridiculousness. Yeah, Surgeon Simulator was like 2012 or 2013. If something else came out before that, of the slapstick simulators, not like, I'm pretty sure like Euro Truck or Farm Simulator came out before that, but
fair enough.
Who knows? Also out this week, The Inner Friend comes out for PS4 and Xbox One. This is an adventure thriller, kind of third-person adventure game. It's been on Steam for a while. It's got some good reviews. You're descending into an eerie world made of scattered memories and unresolved trauma to explore in a nightmarish landscape. You'll come face to face with childhood fears and nightmares. Reading the description, this sounds like something that you already played on stream.
I am already looking it up right now because you started saying, I was like, hold on, let me look this shit up.
Yeah. But it looks interesting if you like thriller games, and it seems like it doesn't suck if you go off reviews because this game already exists. Now, a game that is absolutely Stephen Bait is also coming out this week called Telling Lies.
Yeah, I'm not going to play it on stream, but it is Stephen Bait.
PS4, Xbox One, Switch. This is the classic FMV game, the type of video game that I still have no idea why it exists, but people like Steven love it.
I do. This is the follow-up to...
This is the game where you have actual actors acting things out, and you're basically just making decisions and doing stuff. It's from the same studio that made Her Story, which is another adventure game where you basically just watch a bunch of footage and try and like solve some weird like murder mystery.
Her Story was weird, too. I appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, Telling Lies. 4 private lives, 1 big lie. Search through secretly recorded video conversations to discover the truth. And that's what you do. You watch a bunch of videotapes and try to figure out what actually happened.
It's a live-action Phoenix Wright, just without the animiness.
Okay. Yeah, dude. Have fun. More power to you. SnowRunner comes out for PS4, Xbox One, PC. Keep in mind that this is an Epic exclusive. Oh, no. You're probably going to need 2FA to install this game if you're trying to play it on Epic. This is an open-world driving exploration game. This very much falls into like that simulation category, not the slapstick one. It's a next-generation off-road experience. Drive powerful vehicles and overcome extreme open environments to complete dozens of challenging missions solo or with up to 3 friends. It's like a co-op adventure driving game, but like slower paced, and you can customize your vehicles, and you gotta put mud tires on and like drive through rivers, and sometimes you're trying to drop off. I don't know, dude.
One of our
it's
regulars,
like a combination of spin tires with like a Euro Truck Simulator.
One of our regulars was actually playing this game recently. The way the co-op works is that if you get stuck, you can actually have someone get someone into your game, and they can winch you out.
Yeah, dude, it's just a simulation. Let's drive off in the middle of nowhere game. That sounds fun. Yeah, it's basically Final Fantasy 15. You got it. It's exactly like that in every way.
I will still defend the premise to Final Fantasy 15 because I loved the idea that was a Final Fantasy game. It was just 4 bros on a road trip. That sounded like such an amazing concept to me for a Final Fantasy game.
Also out this week, Sakura Wars comes out for PS4. This is an action RPG slash dating sim slash visual novel. This is one of the things that I don't really pay a lot of attention to, but people seem to love them. I think this is a remake or a remaster. There's a bunch of these games, actually.
It's a
in the same
soft
franchise?
reboot because this franchise has been going on for a while, like you were saying. This one takes place like 10 years after the most recent one, so they start the story up in a place where you don't have had to have played any of the previous ones, but it helps to kind of get some context into the world.
Anyway, the player controls a main protagonist named Kamiyama and the all-female members of the Imperial Combat Revenue's Flower Division who must fight demons while participating in the Combat Revue World Games. You guys have fun.
Yeah, that
also
makes sense.
Out this week, Gears Tactics. This comes out on PC. You can play this shit right now if you got Game Pass, because you can get that for $1. And as much as we are desperately trying to get sponsored, they don't actually sponsor us. But hey, Microsoft, send me some of that. Send me some of them dollars. Anyway, Gears Tactics is the XCOM version of a Gears of War game. It's set in universe, but it is a tactical shooter. It looks pretty damn cool, and I think people are liking it already, from what I am hearing. Daymare 1998 comes out this week for PS4 and Xbox One. This is an action-adventure zombie horror game. I don't actually know what to feel about this. This game looks kind of good. It's a third-person survival horror that's built to recreate the mood of like a 90s survival horror, but with a newer storyline. And it looks so much like a Resident Evil clone. It's not even funny, but that's kind of the point. They're trying to like remaster. They're trying to remaster like the 90s survival horror genre while Capcom is actively doing it.
This started off as a fan remake of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, it had to be, because it looks almost identical to the RE2 remake.
They have openly said that's what it is. This started off as a fan remake to Resident Evil 2. They were hit with a cease and desist, and they converted it into this.
And they made their own game. And look at that. Their game actually gets released.
What I have been saying for people to do.
Hey, guys that are making your Nintendo games, maybe change some stuff and don't say that it's, a Nintendo game.
Another Metroid 2 remake, amazing. I appreciate the time and effort you guys have put into that. You could have made some real money if you would have actually changed a few sprites around and then went, here is this game that we made.
Yeah. But yeah, this game actually looks pretty decent, I'm not going to lie. Doesn't look bad. I think they might have done a good job, but we'll have to wait and see. Active Neurons comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Vita. Vita means life. Vita means love. Casual strategy puzzle game. It's on the list because it's on Vita.
Does it mean life or does it mean love? It can't mean both. What kind of double word is that?
It means life.
Okay.
Anyway, Active Neurons is a puzzle game in which you charge brain neurons. You move a block, and you're on kind of a grid, and you can only move in one of the cardinal directions, and you move until you hit a barrier, and then you can move again, and you're trying to like find the exit.
More or less, trapped in an invisible maze. It sounds like
you're kind of in a maze, yeah, and so you got to figure out which ways you need to go to not kill yourself and get out. Dread Nautical comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Again, this looked like it's only on Epic. This is an action RPG. Your cruise was relaxing until the monsters from another dimension showed up to kill everyone, fight them off, manage resources, and convince scattered survivors to join your efforts. A captivating, eerie, tactical, turn-based RPG. It's got a kind of cartoony art style, and it's got that like isometric tactical RPG look to it.
I know it plays nothing like this game, but I get strong, sexy brutal from it.
Okay.
If you know what the sexy brutal is.
Anyway, tactics games are great, and there should be more tactics games, so you guys have fun. Book of Demons comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This I might play. This is a deck-building, dungeon crawler, hack and slash. That sounds like a
lot
game
of genres
that was made from that one video game that just mashes games together. Remember we talked about that like a while ago?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
This sounds like the result of that, and then someone made a full game out of it. Hack and slash deck building hybrid in which you decide the length of your quests, wield magic cards instead of weapons, and slay the armies of darkness in the dungeons below the old cathedral. Save the terror-stricken paperverse from the clutches of the archdemon himself. RPG stories tend to be pretty generic, but this game actually looks really fun. And finally, last but definitely not least, this had to be here, guys. Streets of Rage 4 comes out this week.
I'm legit
And,
excited to play this.
and I wish my camera's on because I am dead serious. Play this fucking video game. Streets of Rage 4, I am so hyped for. It comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Streets of Rage is some of the best beat 'em up games ever made. Jamming 90s beats, over the top street fighting, and they're back. It's a new game. It's been built from the ground up. It looks amazing. I've got my hands on it before. It plays super well, and the music, the people they have doing the music for this game are a serious list of badasses. I am so flippin' excited for Streets of Rage 4. If you don't like beat 'em ups, or if you've never played a beat 'em up, just do it anyway. I want this game to do well. I need this game to do well because then we'll get more games like it. And the beat 'em up is a lost art form, in my opinion.
It really is. It's sad to know that the best beat 'em ups out there are still like 30 years old.
Yeah,
there should have been another one by now.
The best and most recent beat 'em up that I can think of is, no joke, the Scott Pilgrim tie-in game that came out on the PSN
that
on
you can't
PS3.
even fucking buy anymore.
That you cannot. Not only can you not buy it anymore, you can't download it because it got struck out because they lost all the music licenses.
Yeah,
so
it's fucking tragic.
And that's the most recent beat 'em up I can think of that I really liked.
There were some great ones in the past, though. We had that fucking Simpsons game. If you remember that Simpsons game, X-Men with his Welcome to Die, and of course, in my opinion, arguably one of the greatest beat 'em ups of all time, Alien vs Predator. And I don't mean on PC.
The arcade game.
The arcade Alien vs Predator. It was real fucking good. Yeah. David,
Battletoads, dude, you gotta call GameStop, see if they got a copy of Battletoads.
Don't call your GameStop. Don't do that.
Oh, they're all closed anyway, so
just let them die in peace, would you? David, that does it for new releases and thus the end of the show as well. You all have been watching GamePoints episode 216 rather. Thank you for showing up. It is truly appreciated. If you like what you see here and you want to support the channel, you guys know what streamers want. Likes, follows, bits, subscribes. If you're sitting on that free Amazon Prime subscription and you haven't used it yet, I'd appreciate it here. But if you don't use it here, make sure you give it a good home somewhere. If you do follow, also turn on notifications so that way you know when the show goes live. You can join the Discord server to connect with the greater GamePoints community. Link provided down below regardless of where you're watching at. I will be back streaming likely Gears Tactics tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at twitch.tv/GamePoints. I hope to see you all then. If you want to follow the show, you can do so at GamePoints PC. You can follow myself, Stephen Brown, at CapitalistPrig21. And you can follow David Smith there at PalShife_Satori. Once again, thank you all for watching. This has been GamePoints, and we're out of here.